This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Sawate, mihi nomen est Stella, and you're listening to another Batgirl to Oracle Halloween commentary special. This episode is brought to you by...
Dudes, it's totally time to listen to Fan Holes.
What's that, Mikey?
Like only the most tubular, righteous, gnarly podcast ever.
I don't know, Mikey. I've got some science projects to work on.
Yeah, Mikey, and some of the things those Fan Holes say, really ticks me off. Well, why don't we see what Master Splinter has to say about listening to fanholes?
Yeah, sure. Okay, Leo. But what do you think, Master Splinter? Should we listen to Fanholes, the pop culture podcast made for fans by the fans, or not?
I say...
Go, Fanholes, go, Fanholes, go! Ha 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 ha! I made another funny! Ha 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 ha!
Dude! Turtle Power Podcast Hour! A podcast crossover event featuring Fanholes Podcast, Bored with Friends, and Animated Indulgence, coming this September!
Batgirl the Oracle is also brought to you by MileHighComics.com, your new and collectible comic book store. Mile High Comics has an inventory of over 5 million comics from the gold, silver, bronze, and modern age, and over 100,000 trade paperbacks. If you're not into the vintage stock, that's okay, because Mile High Comics also has a subscription service called the New Issue Comics Express, offering a discounted price for comics ready to hit the shelves. So if you're looking for vintage back issues or a great modern subscription service, be sure to check out MileHighComics.com. Well, it's that time of year again. Fall is actually hitting, I think, Virginia, because a friend of mine texted me a couple days ago and it said happy July 94th because the temperatures have been insane. Just last Wednesday it was 97. Yesterday it got up maybe to 60, and so this is perfect day to record. And the Halloween commentaries are always fun because I get to bring on different people and say what you will about Shagalicious, because some people don't like him, but he does bring new people together. So this is someone that I met at Heroes Con a couple years ago and re-met Baltimore. So welcome to the show for the first time, Derek Crabbe.
Hey, what's up, Stella? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the reason why I thought about this is, and of course, you kind of like to pay back people because you were so generous and had me on to talk about Nausicaa. I saw that you had watched this film, because you like to post when you're watching different DC things or comics you have read, which sometimes you make poor comic choices, but that's okay. We should here.
That's somebody else's fault and not mine, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. But I saw that you had watched this and I thought, oh, that'd be the perfect one because I had gotten this film and I thought this would be a good commentary. I saw you had watched it and that was my thought. So welcome.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. I do really enjoy this, so I'm kind of excited that you asked me to talk about it with you.
And he has said that he has pages filled with notes, so I'm thinking that I'm just going to sit back and watch the movie, and he's going to do my job for me, so I'm even more excited.
I cheated, because technically there's 4 pages of notes, but I wanted to be able to read them all, so now it's 7. So
there you go. Made it large print.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't increase the font, but I added a bunch of, spaces so I could actually make out all the different points I was trying to remind myself of. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we are going to be watching, if you couldn't tell by the album art, the 2019 film Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dude!
Which was great. When it was announced, I was super excited about it. It is the first crossover, I think, that Nickelodeon has ever had with DC Comics and Warner Brothers. And of course, it is based on some of those miniseries that we've had by James Tynion IV and Freddie Williams II. Basically, it's going to be Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, which really excited me, teaming up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in order to save Gotham City from Shredder. And how do you pronounce this guy's name?
I'll probably go with the animated series thing, the Ra's al Ghul. But I know, it's to me, that's an endless, it was funny when they were doing the Arrow thing, I got all kinds of messages about it and stuff like that. So, people, they had started saying Ra's and then it's Ra's and then, anyway. But yeah, I'll probably say Ra's.
Okay. Yeah. Ra's or Ra's, depending on how it is. I mean, I'm sure there are nerds out there that sort of die on whichever hill it is and they'll never go back. But for me, it's purely academic. I think I'll just go with whatever. I just interchange it, which probably really upsets people. But yes, so this is the movie that we're doing. So as a little intro to it, and I will go through which actors were playing which character because they had some really great. I don't think I was unhappy with anybody's performance. Really great actors portraying these characters. I wanted to ask you, what is your history with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I commonly say I'm old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Like, I had the black and white oversized issues, like those kind of issues. I mean, I think by that point, like, the first issue was like reprinted like 6 times over. So I don't think I had the oversized of the black and white original. But I mean, I remember going out and getting like I think it was like the 4th issue, and there was the Casey Jones Raphael like one shot, and all those were kind of oversized and everything. And I had them on my little Mylar sleeves and all that kind of stuff. Like, I love I think like First made these collections, and you could get them at Walden Books. You'll hear Michael Bailey profess his love for Walden Books, but like I remember Walden Books like had these First collections, and the thing that I thought was great about those is they were all in color. So it was kind of all the, the red bandana, Mirage comics and that kind of thing. So I remember I loved reading those. I obsessively watched the animated show when it first came out that ran for like 10 years or something. And so I heavily watched that as well. So I was pretty big into it. I mean, there was, the action figures, the animated show, the comics and everything like that. So I pretty much was in that kind of fandom from day one or go. So I really enjoy it. And then I think at the time this was announced, I mean, I guess a couple years earlier they had done the adaptation of this particular movie. So I read that. We actually covered it on our podcast and talked about it for a bit before the movie was announced. So I could kind of go back and listen to like what my thoughts were on the source material, before we recorded this. And so that was interesting as well. And I think at that point, I don't think I kept up with it, because I'll be honest, I think my podcast buddies are the ones that get me to read the IDW series, which is really great, by the way. But I think I've read about where it catches up with this first, I guess, miniseries or animated film. Like, I think it's like the first 50 or so issues. I think that's kind of like the cutoff point because of what happens to certain characters moving forward from the 50th issue. And I think by now, I think they're almost on like 100 issues. So I feel like I read like, 2 or 3 years worth of comics at a time to discuss for a podcast and then sort of put them back down. But I don't think we've ever done a follow-up since then. So I think it's been about, 2 or 3 years since I've read the IDW series.
I'm trying to think, everything sort of muddled together in my mind, but I remember being really young and there was a costume, and it was the Raphael costume, I remember, because we had the size, and I'm pretty sure I probably inherited it because my brother probably wore it first and then I got to wear it. And I was aware also of the 90s series, and then my brother, and it was something I inherited as well, he had the action figures. I know he had the Turtles, Splinter, Bebop, Rock, Steady. I'm not sure if he had any more, but he kept them pristine. So they were, I would say they're mint on card, but they were also taken out, and so like I was never allowed to play with them.
I'm like, that's the opposite of mint on card. but you're saying for the loose figures, like he kept all the accessories and they were all like,
but he put them back in the box, which is why it's like moderately mint on card.
Okay, wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I do know that it's technically sealed as mint on card, but he would like take them out and then afterwards put them back in the box.
Cool.
So anyways, I could only see them. They're like display only almost. I did at one point break one by accident. But I think it was Michelangelo, which is his favorite.
I was going to say
his arm came off. I'm afraid. But this is something that I have inherited. I have the boxes and the people, and then their accessories are separate, but I don't put them back in the box. But I'm sure, like, once I get, a huge mansion, I can have my little action figure room with, all the Star Wars and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff that I have. Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you think of because they have those figures out now at GameStop?
Yeah, sometimes I wander down the toy aisle and check to see how things have changed, but I haven't gone out and gotten any action. I mean, besides the action figures that you have sent me, which I legitimately keep mint on card now, I don't get any more action figures.
Oh, okay.
which is, I suppose, I don't know. I mean, I have all the ones I think I want. You know, I've got a couple Batgirls. I've got 3 Batgirls, I guess. One from you. I've got the Batman the Animated Series one. I have one that's New 52 styled. So, yeah.
Yeah, because there's that Batgirl from this that is, I think it's packaged with Donatello because they're doing them as like,
which makes sense. And that's one of the, I want to talk about that when we get to those team ups there. I should look at that and see. I think the main, like, if I say toys, I'll say collectibles, because I feel like, I don't know how you would play with these, or like pop figs now. But even so, leading up to that, everyone had been giving me pop figs, and I've never bought pop figs on my own. But now I've got a couple more, but I have sort of put a stop to it. I'm like, you cannot buy any more pop figs, unless, of course. I'm still waiting for Lupin the Third, because I think those would be, I don't understand why they don't have those out there.
I saw you voraciously yelling on the Twitter.
Of course, to Pop Funko. Yes.
Pop Funko. So good job. Like at least that's.
Well, they send out. I'm like, okay, you got another anime coming out, but not like a classic one that's been going forever, and the creator just passed away. It's like the perfect time room. But anyways, we've gotten off topic. So, so I've known about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that would be my history, and I'm actually currently reading. I read it by trade, but I read the IDW series, the new by Eastman and Waltz and all of that, and I very much enjoyed it. So I think that's the only book I've ever read by trade ongoing, because everything else would be a series that it's done. Hey, I get all those, but so I look forward to getting those and continuing that story all the time.
Yeah.
Well, here's another. This is a tough question. Do you have a favorite turtle? And also, if you would like, besides favorite turtle, do you have a favorite side character in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe?
I think I'm going to just do the quick and dirty answer. I think my favorite turtle, as it stands today, right now, would be Leonardo. I mean, I like that kind of type. I mean, we frequently talk about, we like, Cyclops as a leader. I like Dick Grayson as the leader of the Titans, like that archetype. I feel like Leo serves that purpose, and I enjoy when he is, spotlighted, or, those skills are well on display. So for sure it'd be Leonardo as far as a favorite turtle goes. And then I guess for side character, I'm probably gonna pick Casey Jones, I think, because I think when I was a kid I thought he was like super cool, and like I liked, I think that was, you talk about like men on card and all this other stuff, like I was of the foolish age where I bought 2 of everything at that point. And so I bought 1 to open and 1 to keep mint on card. But Casey Jones, I only found 1 of. So I just kept it mint on card until it entered the Great Purge, as I like to call it, where I got rid of a lot of things. But that was, I never had a open Casey Jones to enjoy. So yeah, but I would say Casey Jones is probably my favorite ancillary character.
I'll agree with you and say Leonardo, though. In recent years, I think I have started to appreciate Donatello way more. And I really like all of them. I think they all have their specialties and special qualities and things. So Leonardo is the general one that I would go to. But Donatello, I think, just in watching adaptations and continue to read, I think I have more respect for him, because I feel like he's frequently sort of pushed to the background, in the sense, because Leonardo, obviously the leader, and then Mike, he's the cut up, he's always, and then Raph is the angry one who always gets into altercations with everyone, but especially Leonardo. So it's like Donatello is always the safe one, and his intelligence. And so I always feel like he's kind of in the background, but I've started to appreciate him a lot more. And then through my reading of the IDW's current series, I really like Alloplex, who is a mutated snow fox, and she was a villain in the beginning with Shredder. And I just really, I think just a really great design and how she looked. And then now that she's on the side of the Turtles, there's some shipping there with Alloplex and Raphael. Yeah. So of course, I'm totally down with some interspecies shipping. So she's totally my favorite character. I don't see her as much now. Hopefully they'll start to bring her back. But whenever I see her, I'm like, oh yeah, because she hangs out with no one or nobody. So that's been fun. Angel. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's the preliminary stuff here. So we've got this movie. I do want to run through the cast, and then we'll go through our expectations and just get started, because that's why people are here. So this guy, Troy Baker, oh man, he is playing Batman and the Joker, which is shocking to no one if you know who Troy Baker is. Eric Bauza as Leonardo, Darren Criss, who has done some Broadway stuff, as Raphael, Baron Vaughn as Donatello, Kyle Mooney as Michelangelo, Ben Giro as Damian Wayne, my favorite Robin, don't at me. Rachel Bloom as Barbara Gordon, who was on Your Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and Donovan Loves Her. Brian George as Alfred Pennyworth, Jim Meskimen as Commissioner Gordon and the Scarecrow, Andrew Kashino as the Shredder, Cass Anvar as Raish or Roz Al Ghul, Tom Kenny, that's SpongeBob, is it not? Yeah. As the Penguin, John DiMaggio as Mr. Freeze and Penguin Thug, Tara Strong as Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, there's a ship right there with one person, and the pizza delivery girl, apparently, Carlos Alazraqui as Bane, yeah, and then Keith Ferguson as Baxter Stockman and Two-Face. So as you can already tell, we've got a bunch of villains that are both in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rogues as well as the Batman rogues. So, well, we own this. I'm pretty sure we both own this. And what were your expectations going in? And don't say if they were met, but the first time that you watched this, before, I guess, what expectations did you have going into this movie?
I don't think I had high expectations, because I think I enjoyed the source material it was based on. And there were moments I was certainly excited by and thought were really cool. But I think the overall project, I think there were things where I didn't think the source material worked that well. Like, I was like, oh, that was fun. Like, it's a team up. I like team ups. You know, usually I'm always game for a good team up regardless of the quality of it. And I thought the quality of it was pretty good. You know, it was okay. So I was like, I think going into this, I was like, yeah, this'll probably be fun. So that was kind of my thought of it, you know, and I didn't think it was going to be like the greatest thing I'd ever seen or anything, but I just kind of thought, hey, this will be probably a fun way to spend the afternoon or something.
Absolutely. When I saw, so it's been a while since I have pre-ordered or without having watched a DC animated film. I think maybe the first and maybe the second wave, I trusted them enough that like, oh, this is going to be high quality. And by that, I'm talking, you know, New Frontier, the Doomsday one. You know, I know some people don't like that as much. You know, so those earlier ones, anything that came out, with the exception of like the Green Lantern, was very good. But now I'm very hesitant, so I always watch them before and see like, oh, is it? And I feel like they're getting better. They're getting better. So this one though, I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Nickelodeon had a part of it, so I thought, okay, I think this might be decent. And you had the Burnside form of Batgirl in it. And I had seen the trailer. I think they showed like a long clip, and Batgirl was in it, the intro. They had put that out, and I thought, I feel like I'm going to give this a shot. So I ended up pre-ordering it, and I watched it, and I will say that I was happy with it. I knew that it was going to be based, you know, with air quotes, on that, the source material, but I think only to a certain extent. I don't think fully, and I think it has a different tone potentially than the actual source material does. But so my expectations, I think, were moderately high because I thought this needs to be a fun movie. Those are basically my expectations, and I also thought you can't mess up Batgirl. So those are my two expectations. Fun movie, don't mess up Batgirl. If you do that, you'll be fine. So those are my expectations.
Yeah. Well, Batgirl's your character, right? I mean, yep. you would always have high expectations if one of your favorite characters was featured in an animated property.
Absolutely. Okay, well, anything else before we get into this?
No, let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to turn on my TV now. So we are queued up at 3 seconds. That's as close as I could stop it on my TV here. So I can barely see, once it pops up here, the WB logo. And this time, because I know there have been people, cough, cough, Jacob, that complain when you can hear the audio through. You won't be able to because it's on my TV, so I don't think you'll be able to. So, Derek, since this is your first time, probably not listening to, because I know you are a fan of the show. Thank you very much. But we always bring things with us into these commentaries. Could be fun things, could be things that you actually have on hand, could be food. So what are you bringing with you to watch this film?
What I typically enjoy when I enjoy a good movie is my bag of Sour Patch Kids Extreme, because they have to be extreme. Like I can't go back to the regular ones after the extremes. So
okay,
that's what it's going to be. And it's also kind of I don't feel guilty because this is Halloween themed, so gotta have my candy, right? So.
Absolutely. Well, I've got a giant ohm behind me, so that's going to be watched. Which anyone who doesn't know what an ohm is, I guess OHMU, you're going to have to look it up on your own. I've got, of course, my Batgirl plush, and because it's fall, I've got some apple cider ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, play on play. We're clicking play, and then the commentary is beginning. So here we go.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Play.
So this is the obnoxious part where I start telling people what's on the screen. Nickelodeon, woo!
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, we can when we get to it, because we're about to do that, is this animated intro, which this is new.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this, going through the main JLA people, but then they zoom back and you get a whole host of...
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I kind of think it's cool. I mean, it's a little more generic than the Marvel kind of intro, because they sure. kind of nowadays they're focusing on all those actors and everything. So it's like this is kind of refreshing because you've got like an Aquaman that's not necessarily the Momoa Aquaman. So I think it's kind of cool. And now I'm kind of used to it because it's in like practically everything I watch on the DC universe. You start watching Swamp Thing or Titans or whatever, they play that intro. So it's kind of becoming a staple now. I kind of like the way, I know we just passed it, but the way that the DC logo fades into the moon and everything. Like, I think that's kind of,
yep.
And then they've got those, the Powers building. I guess that's kind of a nod to Batman Beyond, good old Derek Powers Blight, and Batgirl's being super awesome. See, this is the first moment of awesome for Batgirl. Like, I love the way she totally, like, blocks those shurikens and everything. So I think this is a super good start. Like, I knew I was in for something good when the movie started.
And I was pleasantly surprised that they started with Babs.
Yeah, because she's not in the source material at all. Like, it's almost like they amalgamated like a lot of really intelligent and either side or prominent supporting characters into the role that Batgirl ends up playing. Kind of like what you were talking about Donatello. Like, there's a lot more respect to be had because she's not only, I guess, the girl at the computer or what, I forget how they call those characters, but those, supporting characters where, they're saying, oh, I'm your guy in the chair, right? Like Donatello and Batgirl conceivably are girls and guys in the chair, but they also go beyond that too. So it's like she gets to, fill multiple roles in this, and that's something that is kind of cool. And the thing I was happy about with this was it's happy to see, the kind of Neil Adams era Batman costume, because this was based on kind of the New 52 era of Batman when the comic came out.
Yep.
So this was, I think it was kind of cool to see a more, I guess in my mind, I mean, some people may fight me on it, but I think it's a more iconic version of Batman that is paired up with the Turtles here. So I think that's pretty worthwhile.
Yeah, I think you have a mix of like the past and the present, because the gray and the blue is actually my favorite old school Batgirl costume, so that was nice. But then you have the Burnside costume, and then even with this intro, which is amazing, it's almost Sin City style, but just having the flash of colors, but mostly black and white, which of course harkens back to the original black and white Turtles. So I think they do a good job of bringing it forward. But there you go, right there. Yeah, they do a good job of bringing it to the present, but also I think paying homage to the original.
Yeah, because I think in the original, the person that describes all the flashback to Batman is just a kind of generic female scientist. So then in this case, like, Batgirl gets to take on a lot of those roles and everything that they have. And then I guess some of the stuff that I was going to mention was that, yeah, I know you went through like all the actors, and hey, look, there's a mug. And I was going to say, like, what do you think's in that mug, Stella? I'm going to go with.
I'm hoping tea. I don't know what you're trying to
no.
say, sir.
I actually like tea myself. I'm not a drinker of that other beverage, but I thought maybe it might be some hot apple cider as well. You know.
It could. You're right. You're right.
What, so super, and then this, like, I don't know why, like, this may be a reach, but you see how they have like the Foot Clan guy on the TV screen and the, the expositional news network, copyright Michael Bailey TV screen.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of like, is that a subtle nod to the '67 Spider-Man show? Like, you know how like sometimes he's animated and he doesn't have like any like web lines, but it's like it's just a red mask and stuff. I don't know. It looked kind of like Spider-Man to me. But I guess the director of this is a guy named Jake Castorina, and like he directed a lot of different DC animated projects, and this is all my own personal opinion, but he seemed to direct a lot of things that I actually enjoyed, so I think that speaks to the quality of this as well, and doesn't surprise me that I had a good time watching this, because he directed the Death of Superman, the recent, two-parter. He directed that first half, which I consider the good half. And then there's the Justice League Action episodes, which I think are awesome. There's that Scooby-Doo and Batman Brave and the Bold animated movie. So he directed like a lot of really cool projects. And then I think he directed some of the Batman Unlimited stuff. But I don't know if it was the movies, because I haven't seen all of them, but they're like little, kind of, I don't know, web TV episodes and stuff like that.
And let us not ignore the fact that Michelangelo has one nunchuck and then a slice of pizza.
Yeah, and then I think it works well because, of course, blimps in Gotham kind of pair up with the Turtles rather naturally, since, of course, the Turtles have their own turtle blimp, so... And then you've got Tom Kenny here reprising his Penguin role. Is this not your favorite Penguin voice actor? Because I know you like the Batman,
I do really like the Batman. I know that some people are like, eh? I feel like it's a really underrated show. But yeah, when I heard him talk, I was like, oh yes, flashback to the Batman. Yeah. So I am happy.
I mean, it seems like he does that role a lot. It's almost like he may very well be like a definitive Penguin voice, because he's done it so much in all these different projects. And they didn't go with, say, necessarily the what I'll call like the superpowers or the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, look for the Penguin, but his umbrellas have that color scheme. They've got the primary colors and everything. So again, kind of like the Batman outfit, kind of harking back to sort of a classic 70s Neil Adams look here. It's kind of the same with at least the Penguin's umbrellas,
I will say that some of these weapons look like the actual weapons that you would get with the original action figures. Even that kind of pizza slicer that the guy poked through the hologram, it looked like the actual one. Oh, and that guy right there looks like a mutant from the what is it? What is that called? The Frank Miller.
Oh.
Story.
See, I wouldn't have thought of that because my take on that guy was it was supposed to be a nod to Krang, because you know how Krang has that.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah,
and he has like that weird head with the glasses. But I mean, I guess they both kind of no. But you're right too, because they both. It's kind of like an amalgamation of something from Batman, something from Turtles. So yeah, that's super cool.
Do you think you would be able to, without their colors, do you think you'd be able to remember them just by their skin tones?
This is a frequent problem with Judge Dredd as well, where you're like, hey, I can't tell the Turtles apart without, like, I think what I would point to is the trick I would use is what weapons are they holding? Because here's the original, the original Turtle comics, they all had the red bandanas. So it wasn't so much I was telling them apart by color coding, but if somebody had nunchucks, you knew it was Mikey. If somebody had katanas, you knew it was Leo, and so forth. But I mean, the thing that drives me wild is when, like, sometimes in even the Archie comics, they would have things where they all dressed up as civilians. And then at that point, you're like, wait, they don't have bandanas, they don't have weapons, and, maybe if you're lucky, Raph is in that trench coat hat look that, like, Ben Grimm has, so you kind of know it's Raph. But then everybody else is dressed up in, like, parkas and sweaters, and, like, you're like, dude, I I don't know. I don't know who. I'm not really sure. And then you have to like pay attention to like the dialogue probably at that point, you know. You know, the one thing about this that you talked about, like what your expectations were for this, I have to admit, like I know a lot of the DC animated properties are very, you know, PG-13, and there's a lot more violence and maybe blood and gore than people might be expecting. But I think going into this as a Turtles crossover, I didn't expect, you know, like when Raph kind of, you know, nails that, you know, mutant / Krang looking guy in the face. Like I didn't expect as much blood as there was going to be in this, and I'm not saying I take any offense to it. It's just it surprised me that it treated the violence, I would say, somewhat realistically. Like I know, you know, a lot of times you have these kind of, you know, violent cartoons, and of course there is no consequence to the violence. But here I was kind of like, oh wow, I'm like, yeah, this clearly, you know, he clearly broke that guy's nose, you know, like that guy is not getting back up from that anytime soon. Or this, wow, you know, you're like, ooh, I was kind of like, did you see that? He got nailed in the head, you know, and I don't think I was expecting that at all. I don't know. Did the sort of violence in this?
I think, the first time you kind of realize, like, oh, wow, this is for real. I'm trying to think about what the Suicide Squad movie was rated, because I remember someone's head was blown off really right at the beginning, so I think you get a good sense that, oh, wow, we're really into this. But it is shocking because animated-wise, and even Turtles and Batman separately, and if you think, oh, it's going to be a fun tone, you're like, oh, they might do the no blood kind of thing, that they had that rule way back when. But so I think I was probably surprised first, and then
you kind of got accustomed to it as it moved on.
Yeah, I like realized, oh, okay, this is what it'll be.
Man, this fight is great. Like, it's brutal. Like, I think this kind of, like, I mean, it has great choreography, and like I think I would put this fight up there with like some of the really great fights that I saw in, like, I think the one that like Jay Olivia did for the Dark Knight Returns with like Batman and Superman, I think that was a really well choreographed animated fight. And then the 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, the CG one, the TMNT one, like that fight with like Raphael and Leonardo, like in the rain when they're fighting amongst themselves and everything. Like I think they're just as good, like this one, because it's just it I don't know, like they talk about how they had different influences for this, like the Raid and everything, and the director himself said, well, because I guess the director comes from a place where he storyboards a lot of these different series regardless of whether he's directing it, but this was one of his directorial projects, and he was even saying, like, I probably shouldn't storyboard this, but then he was kind of like, but it's Batman versus the Shredder, like he's like, I kind of want to storyboard this, and I think it turned out fantastic. I mean, I think it's really good.
And I suppose it's an age-old question of, you know, who would win in a fight.
Well, and then you talk about how it's like loosely based on the source material. I mean, this doesn't happen really in the source material. And they almost do this kind of Dragon Ball Z thing here with this kind of, you know, it's like the Hoshi Sato kind of, or Hoshi Saki, you know, whatever it is, move, right? That it's the amalgamation of like both their Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Saki's name is like a super move basically, and it's like that's something that I thought was really cool in terms of the fight, and I guess it might even for people who are like mega fans of Batman and think Batman can't lose to anybody. I mean, it does incorporate an added layer to the fight that would explain why, you know, Batman's momentarily halted, because it's not something that he would expect. It's a move he's never encountered before.
It's interesting because Gotham was based off of New York City, so it's almost like, shouldn't they have been in the same city the entire time?
That's interesting, because then, like, in the source material, they go into how it's all this dimensional portal stuff. So it's like, I'm from another New York that's not your New York, and there's no Gotham City there, and that kind of thing. And it gets a little kind of convoluted because you've got all this dimensional hopping. But in this, it's kind of like they just kind of, they came down in the turtle van to Gotham to see what was going on. I mean, if you go by, I guess the DC Atlas, it's like they probably drove down to Jersey somewhere, because that's kind of where Gotham City is, I guess, in the grand scheme of things.
Wasn't that lucky?
See, that is not the true consequence of violence. We didn't have to fall into a bloody puddle of ooze when they landed on the garbage.
I wonder if Raph, he just threw him out. Whatever happened, happened.
Yeah. he wasn't aiming for the garbage. The Batmobile.
With 6 wheels. What do you think about that? Actually, it might have more if it's double wheeled in the back.
I guess
could be 10 wheels. What do you think?
It's Batman's redundancy platform. He's always got a backup plan. He's got a backup set of wheels. So, of course, Raph is the first to jump into the fray because he's the hothead. He's the guy who's going to get into fights early on. So that makes sense in terms of how they... Yeah, this is fairly point for point how the fight goes, at least in the beginning in that first miniseries. I mean, the choreography might be a little different, but, it's kind of similar to how they decided to go at each other in this, and that they didn't... it's that whole typical trope of a team up where, the heroes have a misunderstanding, they fight at first, and then they find their way to team up with one another. But this is pretty consistent with how it was done in the comics, I think.
Yep. Do you think if they had all gone at one go, they could have taken him?
I mean, I think one of the things I liked about the source material was that eventually Leo takes him out, and in this that happens as well. But I think it's with the excuse that he had that big fight with Shredder or whatever. But it's kind of funny because if you really look at that as an excuse, didn't he just have the fight with Shredder now, and he's cleaning the floor with all 4 of them? So yeah. I don't know that totally makes sense. And then the other thing I was going to say was, Turtles' morality is pretty strong, except for when it comes to pizza. So, it's like Mikey's got to get that extra slice right in the middle of the fight.
And there was a shipping moment.
There was a shipping moment in the pizza. Shipper counter is at 1. Ding, ding.
That might be the only one.
You might get some. Well, I mean, Donnie and Batgirl kind of have some common ground, maybe. I mean,
that's true. And he did have in the
and there's
previous incarnation of I don't know if he does now, but he did like April.
There's also going to be a major interspecies creepy shipping moment towards the very end of the movie too. So I'm gonna sound off the alarms when that happens.
That's good. Yeah, warn people. Shipping incoming.
And of course, it's like he can make use of those bandanas, even though they can't take him down because he has a ridiculously long cape. But the difference here is that Donatello's the one who kind of ends the fight, because one character that's been removed from this adaptation is Master Splinter. So Splinter's the one who actually disperses the fight and kind of has them ninja banish or whatever. So that's something that's worth pointing out.
Do you think Splinter would win in a fight versus the Batman?
Yeah. I mean, to me, I'm like Leo wins, so Splinter has to win. I mean, that seems pretty obvious.
Oh,
I really like Keith Ferguson in this. Like, I think he's really, really good. Like, I think he gives a great performance. And then the thing I like about this is going to be the counter, not a shipping counter, but a counter of me saying that this film adaptation is better than the comic source material. Sorry, James Tiny in the Fourth. I'm just saying it. It just improves upon the source material is all I'm saying. But the reason why I like that he's included is because you've got a mutant creature right here at the forefront. Like, we're only like 18 minutes into this, and it sets it up so that when things happen later in this film, it doesn't come out of left field so much when there's more mutant creatures. I feel like it's a good way to establish that. And then this, too, I think is a good change because you've got Ra's al Ghul with the League of Shadows and Ubu or League of Assassins. And then you've got Shredder with the Foot. Like, this is brilliantly displayed. Like, they're both the heads of their clans. They're both got their own little army of ninjas, and they're on equal footing. And that's something I usually appreciate about well-done team-ups, because you can team up anybody and put them together and then have somebody have more, I guess, a better showing than another character. But I think this film, the reason why it excels and is really good is because when you have Batman fight Shredder, it ends in a draw, but they both have really good showings, and it's a brutal fight, and they both have really good moments. And here you've got Ra's al Ghul and Shredder right here standing at like equal footing with one another. They both have their armies. They're both standing up to one another. And I think, I don't know, in the source material, it was kind of like Batman and the Turtles kind of had their way with the Foot Clan, and Shredder was kind of already beaten in a sense when he teams up with Ra's al Ghul, so he was almost at his mercy. But here they're kind of, you know, equal partners, I'd say, at least at a even playing level when this film starts. So I think I appreciate that way better.
I find it interesting they decided to go with Baxter Stockman already mutated rather than sort of the scientist. Well, I mean, he's still a scientist, but, you know.
Right, in his human form to start with. I mean, I guess that'd be more origin type stuff, and they're going to establish that they can change, you know, just a standard ninja into a mutant creature rather than a scientist, I suppose. And countdown to your and my favorite Robin showing up. But yeah, I think this is a good scene because it also establishes kind of what they're potentially trying to do, even though I think like a lot of supervillain plots, it has a little, and this guy kind of looks like, I know you talked about a Lopex, right? Like I was kind of thinking of that, where it's like, oh, look, this is another sort of mutant wolf, you know, fox, you know, kind of type creature. So I was like, and there he is, everybody's favorite Robin, hanging from the rafters, Damian. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig Damian. Damian's,
and for once, he doesn't sweep in. He just looks.
Yeah.
That's good. He's growing.
He's doing some stealth. He knows what's up. He knows what's up with Grandpa. He knows he can't drop in and screw up Grandpa's stuff right away.
It's true. Man-Bat.
Yeah.
I guess they thought it was an urban legend, like the crocodiles in the sewers in New York City.
That's well. Then we get back to that old Batman's an urban legend, but then he's like standing in the UN with the Justice League. Like I don't know how that pans out, but whatever, you know. But yeah, you've got them kind of doing the research in some kind of like arcade internet cafe, I guess, like whatever this is.
Dirtbag stole my thigh.
See, this is Leo kind of doing his typical leader thing, but he also is kind of doing some detective work as well. So, like, I kind of like how that shows him out. And I dig Mikey's Venn diagram here.
Oh, my.
It's like this is pretty much lifted from the comic, too. You know, this is what's cool about Batman. This is what sucks about Batman. So there she is again, Burnside back.
Yay!
Yeah, I remember kind of being surprised because she was not in the source material, so I was happy to see her play like a prominent role in this. And I think throughout the course of this, she comes off, extremely well. And I could understand why you were excited, one, that she was in this, but also that it did not disappoint, I think. There was a lot of cool things that she got to do, and she had a lot of good showings in this. So I was, to me, like, I know the pains of when you have like a favorite character, and as I like to say, they go ugh at a manhole cover, because that never happens to anybody. But Batgirl did not have any of those moments in this, so I think that's what was super cool.
And he's not as much of a jerk as he could.
Well, I mean,
here, because he did just ask for.
Yeah, I mean, they still have the arc with him, and where he he's like Professor Batman is a jerk, because he can't get with the whole the whole have fun and be with family thing. I mean, he's still learning that no man's land lesson like over and over and over again in this as well. But I mean, it's probably done where he appreciates it and actually takes the lesson to heart, I think. And then this was a good change too, because I think in the source material they just kind of, I don't know, ninja show up in the Batcave, and I kind of liked that shot before where they're like swimming to the Batcave. Like I thought that was a cool way to get them inside the Batcave. Like that was well thought out.
And they've got their turtle phones.
So
their shell. What are they? Shell cells?
Yeah. And so this is the cameo shot of all the different Batman suits in the cases. You've got the Thomas Wayne bat suit. You got the original Bob Kane outfit before Bill Finger was involved. You got Bob Kane's first appearance outfit with the purple gloves. You got kind of a golden age, no oval JSA Earth 2 look. And then you've got the classic kind of Silver Age new look with the yellow oval and the short ears. So I think that all leads up to kind of the Neil Adams looking costume that he's wearing now.
What are your thoughts that they don't have any Robin outfits on display?
Well, probably that no Robins have been executed in this universe, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe Damian's the first one.
I got to be honest. I know everybody would hate this, but I think that's what they should have done when they rebooted. I think they should have just had it be Damian, and I know that would have like drove everybody crazy, but I think the 5-year timeline drives everybody just as crazy. So. But yeah, this is one thing. I'll go to props for the comic. Like I think the comic moment where Mikey's riding the dinosaur in this is a better moment. Like I like the line where he rides the T-Rex and he's just basically like, "Dude, this is everything I've ever wanted in my entire life." Woo! And it's like it doesn't. I don't know, like it's still a good moment. It's still funny. He's dressed in the Bat costume and everything, and he does that, but it's not quite the same as the comic. So that's one nod I'll give to the comic, over this adaptation or whatever. And then of course, now you got Damian. I'd say Damian was sweeping the floor with the turtles, but they're not trying to, hurt, the boy, so it's not quite as impressive as given the context of it. It's it's not Spider-Man beating up the X-Men and see.
Oh my!
Impressive,
There is a great moment of. I always wait for those moments when like their heads or their whole bodies go into their shells, and here is using it to keep them down.
Yeah, they make good use of that trick in this multiple times in this film.
Get off, Robin. What a line you never thought you'd hear. Interesting. He's probably thinking already, what do I need to do to beef up security?
Well, there you go again.
Do you think, are the Teenage Mutant Ninja, I mean, we never really get an age. Do you think they're 15, 16, so they are older than Robin?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you think could Could they be this? Okay.
Yeah, I think they're absolutely older than Robin. Like I'm guessing in this, like Robin's like 8 or 9 or something. Like at the bare minimum, like maybe even younger than that. Like
maybe
given the 5-year timeline, like he's probably not too old, right? But them, I'm guessing like they're at least like 15, right? Like that's what I would guess. I love that line. I love it.
Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa. I think
your father-in-law.
I think the comic does a better job of setting up where they are, because I don't know that you quite know from this like where he is.
Oh my!
So, yeah.
Decapitation.
Yeah. I mean, now they're kind of setting it up with the mental ward arrow sign, but you still might kind of like, where are they exactly? I guess maybe they're trying to save the surprise of who's in the cell, right? Like, I think that's probably the reason why they don't have a gigantic establishing shot that has the Arkham gate or whatever.
I hope that those people, I mean, they get good compensation or insurance or something for working in these places.
I highly doubt it. And see, this is what happens when you drink coffee, people.
Yeah, see?
There's consequences.
You get murdered. Yep. May all those coffee drinkers on the Facebook and Twitter recognize.
Oh, the coffee drinker. I knew.
Yep, that was Ange right there.
I knew him well, Horatio. So this is an interesting walk down, I guess, murderer's row, so to speak. But I am going to point out an issue that I always have is, like, why is Bane in Arkham Asylum? Like, that doesn't make...
Yeah, shouldn't he be?
Yeah, like, that's always been a sticking point with me. I mean, unless they're trying to say, like, Oacito, his little teddy bear there, is his friend, like, has voices and talks to him. Like, if that's the case, then I guess he's kind of delusional. But I don't think that's what's usually going on with Bane. So I'm always kind of like, when they put, like, Penguin or Bane in Arkham, like, it always kind of drives me up a wall, because I'm kind of like, I don't think they're supposed to be in there,
I always feel like Toothface should be in Blackgate too. Donovan yells at me. Oh, there's my favorite, Poison Ivy. Well, I guess we'll see. Once they pick. No, I was just about, because they pick, like, I don't know. I feel like you pick loose cannons and things are not going to work out well for you. But
yeah, like that's one of those things where I feel like there's an understanding, or you have to have an understanding of what the plan is. And I think Shredder is just a little less understanding than Ra's al Ghul, because ultimately I think Ra's al Ghul's plan is what it's always been, for Gotham to eat itself in chaos. And it doesn't matter if he releases these people, it still facilitates his plan. Meanwhile, Shredder's like, oh, I'm going to get the Lazarus Pit, and I'm going to rule a city, and I'm going to do this. And I don't think he has quite the full comprehension of Ra's just wants everything to burn to the ground so he can start from scratch. And I think that's my only no prize to why he would work with these people, because ultimately it doesn't matter what they do. He just wants them to burn the city to the ground. And then here you got this was a change. The pizza girl was a pizza guy, so we had some representation here. Girls can deliver pizza too, so there you go.
There you go. I think she got a heavy tip. Yeah, I sort of think about whenever this happens, because they always go, Joker is involved and all those. I think about the Sinister Six Spider-Man wise, because they have, they try on their own and that doesn't necessarily work out. And how easy is it to have a group of people that have tried on their own or don't want to really be bossed around? But the Sinister Six, to a certain extent, I think listens to the boss for a little bit and then starts to break up. But it just doesn't seem like any of these people would listen to anyone else.
Yeah, that's always kind of the struggle you have when you're teaming up people like that, because even if they're not crazy, like even if it's like Doctor Doom and Kang, they're always plotting to stab each other in the back eventually, because they all say, we're going to have a great team up, right, buddy? And then their dialogue balloon is, and then I will kill you and take all the power for myself. So I guess that's something where you sort of have to suspend your disbelief, right? You just have to be like, okay, well, they're all working in unison for a common goal. I mean, I think the notion that the TCRI ooze is payment for breaking them out and the Joker venom and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. This version makes a little more sense to me.
Yeah.
The source.
And I do like the Legion of Doom because they're usually there in order to take down their nemesis. Yeah. So, like, everyone has their own, but everyone realizes what their goal is, so they're all working together. But when it comes down to it, Cheetah's going to go after Wonder Woman and all that stuff. Yeah. So
we just had a shot of Talia, and Nissa, and Ubu, and Bronze Tiger, and the Sensei. So it's all, like, the major players in the League of Assassins. So they had little cameo shout-outs for everybody who's interested.
I haven't thought about Sensei since I read Batman Odyssey and was completely confused.
Oh, you poor girl! You read Batman Odyssey, huh? I read.
I was confused.
I read the Superman thing, and that was pretty bat poop crazy too. So that's I can only imagine what Batman Odyssey was like. So we got I'm gonna say ding 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 shipper counter because Donnie and Batgirl have chemistry together.
Yeah. Oh, see what you did there.
Yeah. That's what. So this is Leo kind of getting his, because this is a better moment in the comics, I think, because Leo and Batman are sparring, and Splinter's overseeing it, and Splinter makes comments like, "Watch your footing, he's pressing you," and I think Batman says something to the effect of, "He's doing fine," and Splinter goes, "I wasn't talking to him." And so and so there's a lot of good moments where they and I think in this, the excuse I think they give is like, oh, look, Batman's cradling his chest. He had that fight with, Shredder earlier. Like, if it wasn't for that, Batman would totally sweep the floor with Leo. So that's all the Batman fans, they can sleep easy at night and blame it on that. But sure. I think Leo would still win against Batman regardless.
I do really like that scene where the animation style changes to represent, Japanese art and goes through that history. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and they don't go too deep into the IDW backstory, but the whole aspect of the reincarnation aspect.
Right.
Like there's a little flavor of that in that flashback.
Alfred acting as the father.
This is like, who needs napkins?
Yeah. It looks like there's blood on their face. Man alive, they're animals.
It's a little Gotham City is made of people.
Oh, he's a no fun zone.
Yeah, see, this is Professor Batman's a jerk moment, right? And he's like, no,
yeah, they need to refuel too.
There's no time for pizza when there's justice to be delivered. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. You do kind of. I mean, we all know Batman's gotten to the level of, I guess, the minimal amount of nutrition he needs, but you kind of wonder, besides that tea that he was drinking, what has he eaten?
Well, that's my question too. Is I was thinking about it, and there's like more sequels to these that I haven't read, but I started looking at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman like Part 3 or whatever, and it's some kind of amalgamated universe, and so they get a bunch of pizza delivered, and I'm thinking to myself, how does Batman keep those like 6-pack abs if all they get delivered is like pizza to eat? Like, I'm like, you can't be that fit on pizza. So. But yeah, like this is the moment. It's like this is more of an exchange than,
right?
Because he's exchanging the Joker Venom recipe, for the mutagen, and so that, I don't know. This to me seems a little more realistic, I think.
How did his stomach acid not
deteriorate?
Yeah, I don't know. Burn through that. Yeah, I know. How long has he had that piece of paper?
I don't know. I feel like the real villain is the citizens of Gotham that smuggled in that piece of paper to him, because you know he paid off somebody to give him that piece of paper so that it was ready for him to spit out of his mouth. So, I think I take issue with that.
This reminds me of Batman Arkham Asylum in the end where he takes the venom in. Or was that Arkham City?
No, that was... You're right.
It was the first one, wasn't it?
And he turns all like giant Joker.
Because it was technically venom.
This always kind of made me scratch my head, even in the source material. And I think it works better. I like Gordon with the traditional. He has the white hair and he's a little older. And I remember when they kept trying to say that the source material miniseries was set during the New 52. I was kind of like, why is Gordon's hair not red then? And that was even true of the source material. So I was kind of like, I don't know. I like this better. I like it that it has the more classic, I keep calling it like a Neil Adams era vibe, but I mean, I like these looks because they seem more, I guess, traditional to me, and it's fun to see those looks paired up with the Turtles. And I think, I would say I think the Burnside Batgirl fits in nicely. Like I don't feel like she's out of place or anything like that. I enjoy that, and that's a good.
At least she wasn't too close, or he would have recognized her.
Well, then you got the, maybe he recognizes her but chooses not to,
Yeah, who knows? The only thing that's hard is seeing Batgirl with Robin is that I so love the Stephanie Brown Batgirl with the Damian Wayne Robin. Yeah. But there's no way that they would ever do that, so.
I don't know, maybe... I wouldn't be surprised if that somehow finds its way into Young Justice, but otherwise, yeah. I agree with you. I don't really see that happening. But yeah, this is a fun moment too, because they're just kind of racing along through the city and everything. And they, it's a moment for Damian to actually be a kid. That's kind of a fun thing.
Well, Batman's a no fun zone, so once he's gone, the kids can play. I thought Freeze wanted to be left out of it.
He apparently did, but I guess he doesn't have any choice in the matter. I'm glad all those years at medical school were put to good use.
I guess this is not the Harley Quinn that's dating Poison.
I guess not yet, right? Because that would, if it was really set, see, and that doesn't make any sense either, because you're like sitting there going, if this is set during the New 52, like Joker shouldn't have a face, right? Like, but whatever.
Oh yes, that wonderful story. Yeah.
So, this too, I think it's like you sort of turned the page in the comic and they were all mutants on the last page or something, and I kind of like this better, that you get to see the transformations. And again, I will say the choices they made in this project are much better. Like I couldn't, what was funny was I knew when I saw this intuitively for the first time that I liked it better than the source material, but I didn't know why until you asked me to do this commentary, and I sat down and actually like sort of stared and compared at them. And it was just like, oh, that's why I like this better. I like it because Batgirl's in it. I like it because, there are those moments like the Shredder Batman fight and everything. And then specifically what they choose to, the animals they choose to mutate them into are much better. I guess I'll point it out as they show up, but just overall, like, I just think, that's going to be you can, I don't know, go into a hospital and take a shot every time I say the movie is better, but like I like it a lot better because most of the animals, in terms of, I think Harley and Joker, they kept the same. Like she's some kind of, dog hyena thing or whatever, and he's still a king cobra. Like that pretty much I think was consistent with the source material. But then like some of the other characters, I think like Bane in the original was an elephant, and like it looked dumb. I'm just gonna say it, like it didn't look cool, and I kind of like the idea that like here it's a little more streamlined, like he's like a jaguar or a cheetah or something like that, And so I guess to me, like when you talked about what my expectations were for the movie going in, I was like, I think it'll be all right. But I actually think the movie exceeded my expectations for it, because I think this movie is better than the source material. I think it actively improves on the source material. And like in that way, I mean, I guess I'll just call out like one of my favorite of the direct-to-video movies, but like one of the movies I really enjoyed was Under the Red Hood, and the reason why that means a lot is, to me at least, is the source material. I couldn't stand it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like the Judd Winnick Batman arcs or anything like that, and he wrote the screenplay for the film version too, and I just think it was loads better. Like I think it actually improved and made me appreciate that story more than the source material did. And I think in this case, like Mr. Freeze, I guess, is a polar bear, but it's so goofy. He's got like the armor on, and he's got like the little helmet, and it looks so, I don't know, it just looks goofball to me. And this, where he's straight up the Coca-Cola polar bear, like I dig that way more, like the character designs in this. Like I think, again, it kind of what I'm getting at is I think it tweaks it in a way that it actively improves the story and then the visuals and everything.
That's not how the ooze actually works, though, is it? Because I thought it was whatever, like the last animal you touched, or if it had connect. But here it's just like it touches you and you turn it to something.
Yeah, it's kind of theme based. It's not very clear. Like it's not like Bane was hanging out with Wonder Woman Cheetah villain before he did this, but And then like, this is all the various pairings, I think, here work very well. They've got, like kind of what we said, you've got, Donnie and Batgirl who have, quote unquote chemistry together, and then you've got, Leo and Batman who are ostensibly the leaders of these separate units, as a pair. And then later we'll see, Raph and Damian kind of being the hotheads are paired together. And then, you've got, I'm trying to forget now. I'm like, I forget who Mikey pairs up with now. I can't even think of it, but.
That was the previous one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Mikey and, yeah.
Yeah,
I do wonder, I mean, chemistry-wise they work, but to a certain extent I feel like you should have split up your, like, have a weaker fighter maybe with a stronger fighter. Because you just put your two top fighters together, and then, I love Batgirl, but you put Batgirl with Donatello, and they might not be the strongest fighters together, so I would have maybe put them with, I don't know, it up. And you also gave them the strongest villain to fight.
It's interesting because that the pairings were done more in terms of character and theme, and this is pretty Halloween-y and creepy, and is not in the source material either. Like this is a good. I mean, because I think if anybody has the willpower to fight off the Scarecrow's machinations, it'd be Leonardo. But it still is an effective moment, right? Because he's clearly like traumatized by seeing his brother's deaths and everything. And I guess to your point, it makes sense though if you're thinking about this in a strategic manner, right? Like why would you put two hotheads on the same little mini team, right? Like maybe you want someone, like if you put Leo as a, as I was calling him, like a self-professed kind of Dick Grayson type, maybe Leo would temper Damian's hot-headedness, and maybe Batman would temper Raph's hot-headedness, like something along those.
Yeah.
Right. So I see what you're saying. And this part was interesting to me too, because I'm like, you don't have a bunch of blood and ooze coming out of,
right.
So it's like they sort of made hard and fast decisions on when that was going to happen and when it wasn't,
I've decided that Bane might be a jaguar because sort of the South American connection. I'm thinking of like the newest Tomb Raider. I remember you have to fight a jaguar.
Makes sense.
So
see,
I'm thinking.
Yeah. No. It's good that you're here because that's something.
The Harley Quinn as the hyena. I feel like that's a good connection because she has those pets.
Yeah.
But I just have to work through the Joker. But I guess because the Joker Venom, maybe.
You know what's interesting? They kind of treat the ooze in this like they do the formula that Alec Cullen makes in the first Swamp Thing movie. Like it's like that.
Okay.
It supposedly brings out the quote unquote inner you. Like that's how they treat it. So it's like, Alec Holland, of course, he's a good guy, so he turns into this, plant elemental guy. But it's like when Arcane uses it, he turns into this horrible wolf monster. When the big fat annoying thug guy uses it, he turns into like this little tiny troll because that's what his that's what's in his heart, I guess, or something. So I don't know. Maybe the South American jaguar is what really is Bane's heart, or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, way to negate the Nightfall stuff. And this was
that's all Batman needed was a turtle shell.
And this.
Oh, he even has osito.
I love this where she takes him out with a barbell. Like this is one of those like, yeah.
Yeah. The fact that he brought his little bear with him and connected it to his belt.
Osito.
Yeah. Wow. Batman certainly doubles as the Splinter. As well.
Yeah.
Which isn't, that's a huge absence to not have Splinter. I wonder if they just thought too many bodies.
Because they had to cut April and Casey and Splinter out of this, and I kind of respect why they did that. Like they wanted to have people on even footing, and maybe it's kind of like having the X-Men, team up with the Teen Titans, but then Professor X comes in and like solves everything at the end of it by giving Darkseid and everybody a mind wipe. It's like that's probably too easy, right? Like so I think maybe it was done for the adversity aspect of it, like that they're kind of on their own and they don't have like a father figure or a teacher to fall back on, so to speak. And that fear sequence is kind of evocative of the Arkham games. Like, that's become a pretty popular aspect of the Scarecrow,
That was funny how the music stopped.
Yeah.
It's that awkward dun dun dun.
That is an awesome moment.
Here she is. Pretty horrifying for my favorite villainess.
Yeah, so am I interpreting this correctly? Like she turned into a Venus flytrap, basically.
I think so.
So
yeah. You'd think it would be more attractive. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the thing that I found, it's weird the choices they made in that comic too, because in the comic I think she's like a praying mantis or something, which is weird. But here she's kind of mobile, like so.
Yeah.
The Damien Turtle Shuffle. This also is much better. The Two-Face, like the way it's like a cat and a dog, like for both faces.
Yeah.
Like I like that. Like in the comic, it's a little more subtle. I think what it was supposed to be in the comic was a chimpanzee and a baboon. So it was, I don't know. I see what they were going for, but I think visually, like, you get immediate recognition between a cat and a dog being like two, I guess, opposites in nature, as it were. Uh-oh, here we have it. The other shipper alarm. It's coming. Okay, so I agree with Michelangelo on this. This is kind of creepy, but yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So shipper with a heavy helping of.
Yeah.
Turtles can dodge bullets. Way to go, Turtles.
Ooh. Interesting. Now everyone's meeting.
It's all culminating, right?
Yep.
And kind of like what you're saying, like they're not really working in unison. Everybody's kind of taking their own shot at Batman or whoever, right? Like it's not like this is a coordinated effort. So I guess Batman's spirit animal is a giant bat, because that's what's about to go down here, I guess, which is not what happens in the comic, but I actually prefer this too, because by this point everybody's mutated, so I guess what's good for the villains is good for the Batman, I guess, like...
It's true.
I think...
You think it's... Well, I guess we'll see.
I think in the comic, it's like there's this weird thing where the Turtles build Batman yet another armor, and it's got like all their colors in it. And I was kind of like, I can see why they excised that, because it's just like yet another. I mean, you've got so many instances, whether it's like Batman versus Predator, Dark Knight Returns, or all this, Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder arcs where there are all these various bat armors, and I'm like, I bet at that point people are like, we've seen enough bat armors, we want to do something a little different. So they decided to go the route of having Batman actually mutate into something else, and it's a little it's a little Red Rain, I guess. So,
yeah. Do you think it's at all close? Because I was just thinking about Joker and Copperhead, the fact that we've got a villain that actually looks like that, and then we have Man-Bat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the obvious one, obviously, for Batman to turn into, but Nemo. But the fact that we have him turn into something that looks like something that already exists, what do you think about that?
Well, I guess the thing I was thinking about was like, it reminds me a little, there's a Turtles character called the Wingnut, and it's actually...
Oh, that's right.
Kind of looks like Batman, so I don't know if they were trying to go for that on purpose or not, but that's what this reminds me of. So like that, because I think it came with like two toys. It was like Wingnut and Screw Loose or something like that.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so I was thinking about that.
This is no good. So this harkens back basically to that conversation that Donatello and Batgirl had, where she asked, is there any mental effects from this serum? And he said, not that I've noticed, but because Joker messed with it, of course you have Batman not really being...
And that's something, too, that this serum, like, they created a anti-ooze MacGuffin, in order to reverse this process, right? So this is your catch-all solution MacGuffin to the problem. And I think like that aspect was not even a thing or a consideration in the source material, because the only people who got mutated were the bad guys. And I think the notion was eventually the serum would wear off, which kind of leads me to question like Ra's al Ghul's master plan, like in the comics at least, because I'm like, if the serum's just going to wear off after a while, like why are you distributing it unless you're just going to attack for like a couple hours or something like that, I guess. But yeah. And then this, I guess, is an example of the Turtles kind of teaming up on the Man-Bat mutated Batman. Oh yeah, I like that pummeling of Harley.
Ooh! Oh no! Oh no! Here it is. This is her moment. Oh! Do you think they did that on purpose?
Yeah. This is. Okay. I feel like this is something that is made for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's something where it's total fan service. It's like the people that are kind of like, you pair Batgirl and the Joker, you always have this ominous feeling, and this is probably a step in the direction of, no man, she's cool, she's hip together, and she can beat the shaz out of him, when the moment calls for it, right? Like that it's not, you don't have to have that sort of deep, horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach when that comes up,
And that right there, I have to say, was a little Game of Thrones flashy moment. With the Arya Stark and the night.
I was thinking like Pulp Fiction with the needle stabbing, but yeah.
I can't. It's been so long since I've seen that. Yeah, I like how also Batgirl, the cape, right? Because that was certainly one of the things that Edna Mode said about capes, how they always cause problems. And so he got her by the cape, and then the buttons, boom. So, battle damaged Batman. Some of my favorite figures are battle damaged. I always like those, and you can see them battle damaged Spider-Man. Oh, yeah. Oh,
it's
a human and emotional moment with Damian.
Get some hugs.
That's kind of creepy.
I think that entire thing, the whole Cobra and of course now she really lays the foot down on the Joker here.
Yeah, there we go.
And she takes a selfie of it as if to.
She has
as if to hit the point home of how non-threatening the Joker is to her now. So.
But who knows? Do you think in this universe the Killing Joke has happened?
Probably not. I don't know. That's something I probably not even want to go into. I think it's more meta commentary on it. It has happened, and it's a meta commentary, but it's not an in-universe thing. At least that would be my take on it.
It looks like Penguin's an equal opportunity employer as well. I think I saw a woman, unless it's a man with long hair. I can't tell.
Well, I mean, that's how the New 52 Birds got their start, right? Like, so it's entirely possible.
That is true.
This is interesting too, because they sort of moved the double cross of the Penguin from the beginning of the comic arc to the very end of this arc, and I think that works a little better too. And Penguin doesn't. I mean, he gets double crossed here, but it's. I don't know. I think this works better again, and I do think that is a lady bodyguard.
Yes, there. Oh, she didn't make it very far.
Well, you got the foot, right? So they're all being ninja stealthy. Of course, that's how the double cross goes, right?
Indeed. It's like in Aladdin. Yes, here's your reward, your eternal reward. Oh, poor old guy.
This also is I think a better plot change the animated thing, because I guess because there was that cross-dimensional stuff. I guess the notion was when the Turtles went to Gotham, they were slowly demutating for some absurd reason, and like that was causing them pain and everything. But I think they sort of transposed that onto Batman recovering from this, mutation essentially. So I don't know. I kind of like this better.
Oh boy. That does it's a funny remark how, it's common sense that the Batcave would be under Wayne Manor, and I just read the Mike W. Barr run of Batman the Outsiders, and originally, he tells them that it's under Wayne Manor, but everyone is just like, wow, Bruce or Mr. Wayne just lets you out under here? He's like, yes. So you're like, okay.
It's more of that classic pre-crisis Silver Age obtuseness of society at large.
So. Oh.
Man, them are some pointy little abs there.
I'm surprised he's not taped up, but man.
Here we go. Professor Batman is a jerk.
Ooh, yep. Man, this is like when he fires everyone. He fired Huntress. He fired Stephanie Brown. He's firing the Turtles.
This is the No Man lesson, like all over again. You know, this is I got to do this on my own, and I can't.
The Lego Batman, yeah.
Yeah, this seems to be a consistent lesson that Batman has to learn over and over and over again. And then this is the moment where everybody gasps because Raph got to put hands on the bat.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that it's Raphael talking about all this.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's basically in saying all this to Batman. It's him talking about himself too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got that moment. I mean, this was kind of the funny beat from the original source material too. That Raph and him have this kind of common shared ground, even though they can't stand each other. But then eventually, you know, I think Batman takes him to like Crime Alley and is like, "This is how I lost my parents" or whatever. And then Raph finally like cools down because they're missing that context of one another, you know. But I think in this, Raph is sharing with him the context of family, you know, like that you don't have to isolate yourself.
Mike is so late. He's only doing it because other people did.
You know,
it's so funny.
He wants to be part of the crowd.
Yeah, I'm going to do it because everyone else gasped. I do that all the time at work and people get freaked out. I do it dramatically. Like nothing has happened. I'll go, and then I get scared. What's happened? It's the best thing to do. Out of context.
An out of context gasp will put the flutter in anyone's heart.
Ooh.
And now we've got the handshake.
Oh.
Yeah, and here they're basically accentuating they did not take a dimensional portal to Gotham City. They just drove, you know.
Yeah. Dimension X. Yeah, look at all those buttons. Man. Oh, there it is.
The Turtle Van.
I think, isn't there an actual toy vehicle and it shoots out sewer caps?
Yep. This is definitely a nod to the cartoon and the toy, yeah, for sure. And it
almost looks like it's got the crane glasses on.
They got the graffiti that says "Foot stinks." Get it?
Yep.
The foot stinks. We got some Ace chemicals. This is more Game of Thrones to me than anything. You got Ubu with little arrows, you know, his archer squad or whatever. That apparently are like stormtroopers because they don't hit anything.
I guess so. Ooh.
I may have missed it, but there's a calendar in that turtle van that says April, which I think is a nod to you know who.
Wow. Just shout thing and yeah, I guess that's enough.
Now, I'm just going to say, I think Donatello killed this guy, but I'll decide what happens. Like, right? I mean...
Oh, yeah, where does he... Yeah, there's no way he can take an impact.
There's no parachute. Like, that guy's dead, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm just making sure that's not just me. I'm like, Donatello killed that guy, right?
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. See, this is kind of thematic as well, but a different thematic because you got both like Raph and Batgirl on their bikes, you know.
It's kind of like a World War II German helmet. I guess they get what they get, you know. Oh, got some, what? Oh, okay. I was like, who are these people? But it's the foot that they had.
Yeah, it's like
there was one that kind of looked like Bebop.
Yeah.
Or no, Rocksteady.
Yeah, because they it's like they're using like the League of Assassins, ninjas, and then those guys kind of look like a Lope or a Lopex or whatever too, like the white and stuff. And I think later, you know how I said Bane turned into an elephant in the original? I think eventually, see, there's like an elephant that's one of the League of Assassins in this too. But yeah,
oh gosh, that looked like Pete from the ongoing. I'm Pete.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah,
that's kind of what Bane looked like, except for imagine like a Bane mask on him. That's why I thought it kind of looked goofy. But I think this works a little better.
Though you do have to wonder about the physics of it, because like mass doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I guess that person would have to be huge to begin with.
I mean, part of me was wondering if, like, I know it's not, but part of me was thinking, like, oh, if Ubu had turned into an elephant, that might have been.
Oh.
More,
yeah,
like,
it's true.
He's a bigger, larger guy, like.
One of my favorite parts is coming up. I just don't remember.
Yeah, it's almost there, I think.
It's about the buttons.
Yeah, I think Raph, I know you said there it is, April. Like.
Oh, there, April.
Shout out to Miss O'Neill.
Yeah, who had enough mass to become? Is this a Tyrannosaurus
yes.
Rex? Give me a break. And his mass still fits. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Well, this
is like Mr. Fantastic where it grows with
if you want the greatest Robin of all time to have an awesome moment where he's fighting a T-Rex, you don't question the physics of it.
There it is. Yes, here it is. Which ones? Oh, the buttons. Woo! Oh my goodness.
I love Damien.
I think it would probably be better used. Oh, what? Why would he have that? Well, I guess it's like a flare. I've always wanted to hit everything.
It's when when he stops being Professor Batjerk and decides to call in his family. You know, so. He's like a Thundercats ho message. You know.
Oh my goodness!
I like him. He's like good work.
Yeah. Oh, he smiled.
See that's the character arc, right?
Here we go, Jurassic World.
This is like the more awesome version of the New Frontier losers version of things, because Damien actually lives through it.
Oh my. It's like Akira.
See, I guess.
Oh my. Yeah, where did all that mass come from? Give me a break.
There is mass transformation there. Man, Ace Chemicals is like a friggin' fortress in this.
You'd think it'd be a derelict building. He kind of sounds like Jeff Goldblum.
He, I think, voiced the Prince, like, I think Prince Topaz in the Amethyst animated thing. Oh. And I'm trying to think, there was...
From DC.
Yeah, and there were some other things that he did as well. But yeah, I did enjoy his work as Baxter Stockman in this. Yeah, and this is kind of what I was getting at. Like, they kind of elaborate or at least solidify Raish's plan is always what it's always been, to burn Gotham to the ground. You know, like, it's not some complicated thing about mutating people and attacking and ruling and all this other stuff. It's just we're going to eradicate this blight on the planet, which he considers Gotham, right? So he's just going to wipe it out from the ground up.
Yeah, slow motion entrances.
Group shot, team shot. Woo! So I think a cool nod is going to come up here in a little bit.
Ooh. There goes her bad boy.
Yeah, Bruce will get her another one.
Suppose that's true.
So now we got Batman versus Shredder, round 2.
Indeed. They're not children.
Well, they're teenagers.
I know. It is interesting that they switch and they go with someone they're not accustomed.
Well, again, I think it's sort of theme based. I mean, Leo is a swordsman, so they're kind of going with that kind of pairing, I think, for this. And then let's see, and then you've got like Batgirl fighting Ubu, and she makes short as well. So I think she's been doing pretty. She's A+ in handling all the big bruisers in this.
Oh, gosh. You, fly, man. Oh, man. It was like Damien was looking around for who was left, and here we go. Oh, he just threw... Oh, my gosh. You are a terrible disappointment. Oh, my gosh. Threw up instead.
Now, this I wasn't expecting either in terms of the violence. I mean, there's no blood, but I think it's pretty... What's about to go down is brutal. I was like, ouch.
Psh. Yeah. Man, and it's all wiggly. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I was like, ow.
He might throw up, too, from the pain. Oh, dear.
See, now Leo's got that second wind. He's ready to...
Yeah.
Some...
Oh, dear. Oh, my. Ooh. The wiggle.
Okay, here we go. Mikey's about to do the video game thing. Woo! So he flipped that foot soldier out towards the camera there. That's totally like the Turtles in Time video game when you used to grab the foot soldiers off the screen and then you could like flip them out into the camera. So I was excited about that.
Wow. Every button they press is the wrong button.
Well, he needs the guy in the chair to tell him what's what, right?
Yeah, the handler. Yeah, it's true. Man, the confidence, just one arm behind his back. Guess that's just his fighting style.
Confidence and/or arrogance. Like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
It is Leonardo. And this again is really well choreographed, I think. I mean, if you're expecting a really awesome sword fight, it certainly delivers. Of course, Ray cheats. He fights dirty and underhanded. Breaks the guy's sword. Yeah.
Oopsies. From a rat.
And that's...
Oh, look at that.
That's the nod to Master Splinter.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at this point in the comic there's some ridiculous fight with the Batman armor and Shredder or something like that, but this is much better, I think.
Well, it doesn't even seem like he's wearing armor besides his gauntlet. with the way, I mean, once he put on his clothing after the hospital scene, it just looks like a flimsy shirt. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in the source material, he had like some kind of goofy ass armor that had like all these colors because it was all the bandana colors on the bat symbol or something. So I kind of like that they just went with this as the round 2 and everything.
Oh boy.
And it fits with the lesson that Professor Batman is a jerk needs to learn, right? Like that here he is gonna use teamwork, right?
Oh. It looked like he was about to throw a Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's what that move reminds me of. To do a Kamehameha on Batman or something. And get a nice bloody punch in the face. And man, some of those combos, man, these are really good. Like you can tell, like whoever did this actually, like hit somebody in the face before.
Oh dear. Gets worse and worse. I don't know how he's hanging on with one arm.
Yeah, he must have some strong arm control there.
Oh my gosh.
Look at how it's shaking too. Luckily, all it takes is destruction, rampant, willy-nilly destruction, to foil Ra's al Ghul's ultimate plan. One thing Ra's al Ghul didn't count on. Dude! This is almost like the opening of your favorite Batman movie.
That's true.
They just need the little surfboards.
Yep. I mean, I don't think that's it, but we'll just go with it.
These shells are like...
I'm pretty sure their shells would have been extremely damaged.
But they
Oh, that's right. Okay,
gotta wait for it.
Okay, I accept it.
Okay, so this is kind of like Mortal Kombat versus DC to me, or Injustice, like that whole he's punching him as.
Oh,
like, I don't know if you've ever played that, but where they like plummet from the thing and you keep beating them up as you do combos on them. Like that's what that reminded me of. I thought it was pretty fun. Man, Shredder's been down in that pizza in between this fight, huh?
Indeed. Oh. Yikes.
Uh-oh.
And that's how the Joker was made.
Oh. The Smile Clan.
Everyone out. How is that possible? A whole 2 full leagues. Oh gosh. Of people, and they're doing it. Oh man, she's got Uber.
That kind of reminded me of when Batgirl was carrying out the terrible trio guys or whatever out of that brick.
Oh yeah, bit. She tried to get Shark, and he said no. That's what they said in the first one. When he was put in the dump truck.
Was it too much trouble to get like a little fishnet and kind of swim it through the ooze?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, ding ding, shipper.
Oh.
We're gonna exchange online.
Ooh, Oracle.
Bow staffs are cool.
Oh.
Bow staffs.
Oh, look at that little ship right there. And she does like purple, so it works.
Yep. I think this is my favorite line in the film.
Oh. Oh, look at that. The sickest of tricks. Man. Uh-oh. What's about to happen? Dum dum dum. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is a nice way to end this. I mean, Batman learns the lesson. He doesn't.
He's not even eating.
Presumably, in this universe, he will continue to smile and use teamwork.
Let's hope so. Where's his pizza?
There it is, and he's
folded
it the right way.
Oh.
Batman knows how to eat pizza.
Goodness. Yeah, and for some reason there's no pizza sauce on his face.
That's because Batman knows how to eat pizza.
Here we go, and then we go. This is pretty cool because they take classic comic covers, but then
they add stuff to it. Yeah,
Yep.
You've got all these Bob Haney, Brave and the Bolds, but
there's Batgirl.
Yeah,
man,
some Teen Titans action there, merged with the Turtles. Some Neil Adams, and then there's a old Mirage Comics issue where they got Batman in the reflection of a mouser.
Yeah.
Some Dark Knight Returns, and there you go, Batman and the Outsiders. You've been reading it, right?
There it is. I'm leaving you. I'm going with these guys.
There's some old.
Boy, was that issue high drama.
I'm gonna punch you in the face before I leave. Some Justice League, some superpowers. Yeah, this is all fun. It's pretty cool. They do a pretty good job of inserting either the Batman characters or the Turtles into those. I mean, I'd like to say they look 100% seamless, but it's pretty.
Oh, sure. But just the fact that they came up with that idea, I think is a lot. Oh, there's where Robin pops in. Yeah.
Some Mazzucchelli, Frank Miller with Raphael and Batman, and the famous Batman cover of Robin on the hotline. But Batman's busy watching the Turtles. Oh yeah, and the Alien Batman cover, that's pretty cool. And it's funny, they made Casey Jones up to look like Nightwing. That's that rock.
Yeah.
One shot.
Closest one, I suppose.
There's a Treasury cast cover. Shout out to Rob Kelly. There's some Justice League with the Turtles fighting
Starro. Yeah.
Some Batman the Cult. That's a funny image of Robin there, inserted into that Turtles comic.
Yeah.
It's not even like the right, maybe they should have done Damian because it's pretty much like a Dick Grayson outfit.
Yeah. Well.
We've got
here it is. The garbage truck. Oh no.
Yeah, we gotta go off and start the Smile Clan. I guess he didn't get the Lazarus pit, but he got the Joker Venom chemical pit.
Yep. Oh boy. Whew.
Yeah.
So who knows? Well, what do you think about? I mean, we've been talking about it obviously the entire way through, but thoughts on the movie overall?
Overall, I enjoy this movie. Kind of like what I said before. I think this not only was a fun movie and a good movie, but it exceeded my expectations and it exceeded the source material. I mean, I think it's excellent. I think I'd put it up there because I really like how everybody got a good moment to shine. I liked how everyone, I think, was given even time to shine, like all the characters. It wasn't lopsided. I think, whenever I point to like what I think of as an excellent versus movie or an excellent team movie, it usually is something that I think both characters had a good showing in, and I don't think anyone was underserviced in this. So I think everybody was serviced equally and well, and I think again it exceeded the source material. I thought it was super fun, and again I was happy to see Batgirl get a lot of opportunities to kick butt and shine and kind of overcome any meta concerns that people have about the Joker. Like all that stuff was super cool. So I enjoyed it, and I would watch this repeatedly because I have. So yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think it certainly exceeded my expectations. I mean, they were rather high anyways. I was coming in looking for a fun film, and it was a lot of fun. Got to see some great rogues overall. Maybe not as many for the Turtles besides Baxter Stockman and Shredder, but you had enough of the Batman, I think, to fill up enough room that you don't want it to be overcrowded. But yeah, just lots of fun character interactions. Batman is Batman, so yes, he does act like a jerk, a little bit of the time, which I think just comes with the name. But with the Turtles having their personalities carry over and just having a lot of laugh out loud moments, and Damian being the awkward kid he is with that. And of course, yeah, Barbara and Batgirl, starting off with Barbara I think was great, and just getting a look at her character just with that opening scene, and then being Batgirl and being respected by Batman, showing her fighting prowess as well as her intelligence was great. The shout out, to fighting the Joker and all of that, and then Batman coming together and having a little family moment. I mean, it was, I think, a really well-rounded film. It hits all of the stuff, and it was really interesting. So interesting and fun. Well, if there's a sequel, because there's that tease at the end, what do you think they would do next?
Well,
or what would you want to see them do next?
See, it's interesting because I guess the sequel to the comic series was set in like different universes. I guess they did like the animated Batman, the animated series with the sort of animated Turtles to a degree as one of the sequels. But then the other one that I haven't read completely, but I sort of flipped through like the first issue before we talked about this, just so I would know what it was about. It seems to be like some kind of amalgam thing, like where, you know how like, I guess like after they did like DC versus Marvel and they had all those amalgam books where the characters were like fused together, it's almost like the universe was kind of fused together. So I kept talking about the Smile Clan because that's what they called it. Like it's like the Joker and Shredder are the same character, I guess, and like it's like Karai and Harley Quinn are kind of fused together, and they're leading the Smile Clan instead of the Foot Clan, and like Batman's one of the brothers, and Splinter's like his father figure, Alfred. Like so. I don't know if they'll try to do that, but that could be where they're leading with that post credits tease, that something along those lines where you've got a Jokerized Shredder as part of a sequel. So I guess I would be up for it. I'd be curious to see what they do with it.
I mean, it's the obvious play, right, since it was the end. And I'm hoping, since that happened to Shredder, that maybe we see more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle rogues in there as well. And so maybe Bebop Rocksteady. I don't know, maybe... Well, yeah, Fair
play is fair play. I mean, maybe instead of setting it in Gotham, they should go to the Turtles New York.
Yeah.
Or maybe go a little more obscure with things. I mean, we're talking about, Man-Bat. Like, what if Man-Bat meets, Wingnut and Screw-Loose or Kirby or something? Like, have those themed characters that make sense to meet, even if it's sort of obscure or whatever, or maybe, next time, it's like, would it be cool to see, like, Casey Jones and Nightwing meet or something? Like things like that. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah. Who do you think would be the counterpart to Shredder if they did a sequel?
So you mean like who on the
Batman
side? Like I guess,
yeah.
Like who would you like? I don't know.
Unless it's just Shredder led. I mean.
Well, yeah. No. I guess they could do another like character or something, but I'm just trying to think, like, maybe if it was a Jokerized Shredder, like maybe there should be a turtle-fied Arkham person or something like that. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, they all kind of already had them be mutants, but maybe it could be something along the lines of like the Court of Owls is actually owls or something. You know what I mean? Like something like they're fusing those themes together, just like they're fusing the Joker and the Shredder.
Black Mask?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I look forward to it, though. I think it would be a lot of fun, and just bringing in more characters, and maybe finally see Splinter. I think, well, you would get rid of Alfred potentially if they were in New York City, so then you'd have space for a different character. But I hope they do. I mean, I think it was a lot of fun. I didn't check sales or anything because, unfortunately, it's going to sound like I'm bad-mouthing Warner Brothers and stuff, but it's true. It really is about the sales and everything, and the toys also push that forward. So if it didn't do well, they're not going to continue with an idea that didn't sell well. So I'm hoping it did.
I think if Batman's in it, the sales are fine. Like, I mean, because that's what they go with, right? I mean, all these projects, I mean, it's like the Suicide Squad and all this other stuff. They slap Batman on the cover to boost the sales. So, I mean, and Batman was actually in this legitimately. So, like, I think the sales are probably fine on this. Like, I think it might be more a matter of who gets a piece of what pie, right? Like maybe between Warner and Nickelodeon or something. Like, that's the only thing I could see holding up doing more projects like that.
So what you said that you would watch it again. What grade would you give this out of 10? Let's see here. 10 French kisses by,
Oh,
and
God.
Joker.
Okay. Well, I guess if it evokes that reaction out of me, and this is how good I feel about it in counterpoint to I'll give it 10 out of 10 really creepy French kisses from Harley, because I do think this is really solid. Like, I don't find any faults with this. Like, I enjoyed it. I think it's really good, and I would put it up there with some of my favorite DC direct-to-video animated projects. Like I said, Under the Red Hood or Dark. Like, I really enjoy those, and I think this is right up with those as far as those kind of projects, and even comparing it to other Turtle stuff. Like, I love that TMNT 2007 film, and I think this is right up there with it as far as, like, from the Turtles end of things.
Yeah, I would agree. I think 10 Joker and Harley French kisses. It's a lot of fun, and I will continue to watch it. And it's got the spooky Halloween factor, so it's the perfect time to watch it again. Yep. Before we part ways, there you go. Where can people find you and support you?
People can check me out on the interwebs. If you like podcasts, you can go over to fanholespodcast.blogspot.com. And if you like videos about comic books and the history of comics on film, there's the chronological coverage of those over on hocof.blogspot.com for history of comics on film.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and watching this film.
Yeah, this was a treat. This was a pleasure. I was looking forward to it, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you, Stella.
Did you get through all 6 pages?
I did. I did. I mean, I'm scrolling through it. I mean, I said things at different points in time, but yeah, I'm sitting here at the bottom of page 7 that says after credits have a Jokerized shredder. So yeah, we're all.
There you go. Okay. Well, remember, you can send any questions or comments to me. And if you have any comments or complaints about Derek, you can also send them my way, and I'll forward it to him at Batgirl.
You can take it. You can send them to me.
I'm sure you will get. I just always like to say that. But so send it to batgirltheoracle@gmail.com. You can also find the show on Google Play and Stitcher, like the show on Facebook, or follow it on Twitter at BatgirlTheOracle. And be sure to follow the Batman Universe on Facebook and Twitter as well, and support it by subscribing to Patreon. Once again, thanks to Mile High Comics for sponsoring Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast.